welcome back to Recap Tuesday, and because I was MIA last week, I will be doing all of the recaps as of today. So yeah, it's gonna be a long night. So anyway, this week's episode of Degrassi was called Can't Stop This Thing We Started, and there were, of course, three main stories. Can't talk already. There were three main stories of things that occurred in tonight's episode. There were three main stories that occurred in tonight's episode. Alright, so first off, let me start with my favorite segment of the show, and that is, of course, Claire. I'm just so completely in love with her storyline. Like, I just love Claire this season. I'm a huge fan of hers. So pretty much Claire in this episode is, you know, still dealing with the fact that she's pregnant. I think that she's really just kind of like trying to realize that, yes, you know, I am pregnant, and, you know, when you're pregnant, when you're expecting and you're about to have a kid, your whole life is about to change. And Claire is just pretty much like, you know, I'm still going to go to Columbia. Eli and I are still going to be together. You know, we're going to have an apartment. When I'm away at Columbia, they have housing there. You know, everything can pretty much be the same. Nothing is going to change. So she's got this pretty much embedded in her mind that, you know, nothing's going to change. She hasn't told her mom yet. She hasn't told her, she hasn't told Eli yet. And, you know, she's just really kind of dealing with things on her own. The only people that know at this point are Allie, Drew, and apparently Drew's mom. So Claire's like in the midst of trying to, you know, prepare, because Eli pretty much pops up and he's like, yeah, I'm going to surprise you, you know, with something for getting into Columbia. And it turns out that the surprise is him. So he pops up, and she's like getting ready to meet with him, getting ready to tell him pretty much that she's pregnant. And her mom walks in the room, and she's like, at this point, she's like in the mirror talking to herself. So her mom walks in the room, and she's like, Claire, honey, you know, Drew's mom, I can't remember, Mrs. Torres just called. Drew's mom just called, and she says that you have something to tell me. You know, they're about to come over. So she's like, but Eli's about to come over. And then, to make a long story short, Drew's mom pretty much already knows that Claire is pregnant, and at this point they go ahead and they tell Claire's mom that Claire is pregnant. So pretty much everyone knows, and, you know, since they're still minors, they're still young, they're still in high school, Drew's mom and Claire's mom are pretty much making arrangements for them. Her mom is just like, you know what, you have to stay here. There's no going to Columbia. You need our support. There's no way that you can go off to school and do this on your own. So at this point, you know, Claire's like, you know, I really want to have this baby because this might be the only chance that I get to have a kid, since, you know, the cancer could come back. So, you know, she's really in a tough situation. You know, she's like got this thing in her mind. She's like got it in her mind that, like, basically that she can go ahead and, you know, live her life the way she had planned to initially, but that's just definitely not the case. So she runs off to the dot, and Allie's there with her boo thing, I forgot his name, and bumps into Eli, and she pretty much tells him, there was like a whole little incident, but I don't want to, you know, make this video too long, but basically Claire comes out with it to Eli that she's pregnant, and Eli is pretty much like, what? You know, at first he thought that the kid was his, but then when he found out it was Drew's, he was just kind of like, he didn't want anything to do with it pretty much, so he storms off and leaves. So then we get into Miles and Winston's little storyline. Alright, so then we get into Miles and Winston's storyline, and this week we kind of see just a deeper insider look into Winston and Miles. Winston is pretty much jealous of Tristan in this episode. Miles has been spending a lot of time with Tristan. You know, they're dating now, and things between him and Winston aren't the same. You know, they want to play video games, you know, like the little shoot 'em up video games, and Tristan wants to play like Just Dance, you know, he wants to dance to have a little bit of fun, so they play the Just Dance game, and during the Just Dance game, Winston is pretty much knocking Tristan out. He's like throwing bowls at him, just trying to pretend like he's, you know, following a dance move, but really he's just hitting them. So, that was actually pretty funny in my opinion, but yeah. So that happened, and then, you know, because he was hitting them and everything, Tristan was like, whoa, you guys need to have a talk. So Miles and Winston pretty much have a heart-to-heart, and, you know what, I'm going to say this. I kind of feel like Winston might have something going on with Miles. I don't know if you guys are feeling that too, but it's just kind of like, it's kind of awkward. So they did kind of make up and apologize to each other, but I'm kind of sensing something. I don't know. He says he's not gay, but I don't know. It's kind of reading like he might have feelings for Miles. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with that storyline. But basically, they want to have like their bro time again, aside from Tristan. And Miles is like, you know, cool. We can try to be like how we were before. Because Winston, he is dating Frankie, who, you know, was on the Power Squad and everything, and is also Miles' sister. But, you know, he was spending a lot of time with her during the spring break, so he wasn't really around with Miles, which is why Miles kind of was hanging out with Tristan more. So I don't know. That story happened, and then there was one more story, and that was with Zig and Grace. And basically, Zig was like arm wrestling Grace or whatever, and Grace won. And after that, oh, and Tiny was filming him while they were wrestling. So he pretty much put it on blast. The video went viral. It went all over his Twitter feed. Tiny's Twitter feed. They started making fun of Zig, talking about some, ha ha, girl beat you, da 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 da. So that pretty much made Zig feel some type of way. And he, you know, basically felt emasculated. And he's like, okay, you know, I want a rematch. And Grace is like, well, cool, you know, we can have a rematch, but we're going to rematch my way. So she sets like this whole thing up where she like pretends, or she gets ready rather, to give him a tattoo at home with like some needle like that she sterilized and like a candle. Like, it's just really dumb. And, you know, she's like, if you're man enough, you know, then you could take this tattoo at home. You could take me giving you a tattoo at home if you're man enough. So Zig is like, okay, cool, you know, I do it. So he lays down and he's like getting ready to get the tattoo, and then he realized how dumb it is, and he's like, okay, you beat me, you know, whatever, no big deal, girls can beat guys. So, and that was pretty much what happened in this week's episode. But y'all, I cannot wait to recap tonight's episode, because tonight's episode was good. So make sure you tune in to part 2 if you haven't already seen it. Bye!